Through the cafe window, I watched as my wife leaned in to kiss him, clutching divorce papers in my trembling hands before vanishing into the crowded street. Be me, 29-year-old Marcus Wilson, living in Portland, working as a financial analyst at a major corporation, making great money, living the dream. Have everything people wish for. Beautiful wife named Rachel, married for 4 years. Thursday evening when everything changed. Sitting at dinner with Rachel, something feels different tonight. She's scrolling through her phone, barely touching her pasta. Small smirk on her face doesn't match the mood. Ask her what's so funny. Without looking up, she says, just a meme. Flips her phone face down on the table. Catch a glimpse of a name before she does. Thomas. Who the hell is Thomas? Usually wouldn't think twice about it. She knows people from work, gym, everywhere. But something feels wrong. Her reaction seems off. She looks up and catches me staring. Jealous, baby? She says with a teasing tone. Like she's enjoying keeping me in the dark. Leans over and kisses my cheek quickly. Goes back to her phone, still wearing that weird smirk. Something about this nags at me all night. Too tired from work to start an argument. Let it slide for now. Next night, everything gets worse. Wake up at 3 a.m. thirsty. Walking to kitchen for water. Notice her phone screen light up in the dark. Message preview appears. It's from Thomas again. Miss, seeing you tonight. You left your scarf at my place. Feel my heart stop. Words echo in my head. Remember what she told me earlier. Said she was meeting Kelly from work after yoga. Coming home late. Not exactly the kind of night that ends with leaving a scarf behind. Don't confront her immediately. Need to know more. Need to see how deep this goes. Start paying attention to every little detail. Start noticing everything. It's like seeing her through new eyes. She comes home late, tosses her jacket on the chair carelessly, always leaves her phone in another room. Her smile seems fake now. Laughs too easily at nothing. All her affection feels hollow, like she's wearing a mask, just going through the motions. Decide to test her last Friday. Tell her I'll be working late on a huge project. Say I might sleep at the office to get a head start. She barely reacts. Good luck with that, hun. Doesn't even ask questions. Doesn't offer to wait up. Just shrugs it off like it's nothing. Leave the house as planned. Drive to my friend Mike's place. Wait there for 2 hours. Drive back and park a block away. Walk to our house quietly. All lights are off. She's not home. Check the tracking app I installed. Her phone shows she's at the Oak Room downtown. Been there together a few times before? Not exactly a place for girls' night. More like somewhere you'd go to disappear. Head to the bar. Dark inside. Perfect spot for secrets. Find her in one of the back booths. Sitting way too close to some guy. Never seen him before. His hand is on her leg. She's leaning into him like she's done it countless times. Watch her laugh at something he says. Then she leans even closer. In the dim light, they kiss. It's quick but casual, like they've done this before. Don't make a scene. Don't shout or confront them. Take out an envelope from my pocket. Her name written on it. Place it on a nearby table where she'll see it. Walk out of the bar feeling numb, like I'm walking through someone else's nightmare. Cold air hits my face, but I barely feel it. Stand outside for who knows how long. Keep seeing that kiss. The way she smiled at him. That intensity in her eyes. Haven't seen that look in forever. Finally drag myself back to my car. Grip the steering wheel tight. Only thing keeping me grounded. Drive back home in a daze. House looks exactly the same. Our photos still line the walls. Everyone's smiling like nothing's wrong. Half-empty teacup on the counter. Her favorite gray scarf by the door. Our shoes still lined up together. Everything feels like a lie now. Know she'll be home eventually. Left enough in that letter. Made it clear I saw everything. Wrote about how I knew she was lying. Told her I watched her break my trust in that bar. If she wants to be with this other guy, she needs to say it to my face. Kept the letter calm, but message is clear. She's caught. I'm done with the games. Almost 4 a.m. when I hear the front door. She's trying to be quiet. Probably thinks I'm asleep. Probably planning to act normal tomorrow. Walks into our bedroom. Freezes when she sees me sitting there. Just watching her. Hey, she stammers. Puts on this guilty little smile. Like she's just stayed out too late. Doesn't know about the letter yet? Came straight upstairs. What are you doing up? Don't answer. Hold up my phone. Press play on the voice memo. Recorded outside the bar. Just her laughing. Then that one line I caught. I can't wait to get out of here with you. Watch her face drop. Doesn't even try to deny it. Just stands there frozen. Trying to figure out what to say. See fear flash in her eyes for a second. Almost feel sorry for her. Almost. So Thomas, I finally say. Breaking the silence. Her eyes dart to the floor. Starts fumbling for excuses. Okay, it's not what it looks like. Stumbling over her words. Still trying to keep that fake innocent look. We're just friends. Just talking. You know how work gets. It's so intense. He's just someone I can unwind with. Unwind? I repeat. Can't help but laugh. Since when does unwinding involve leaving your scarf at his place? She flinches, knows she's caught. Maybe if you were actually around. I wouldn't need to unwind with someone else. Her tone turns sharp, almost challenging me. My stomach twists. Here comes the blame game. Shifting responsibility. Want to yell. Make her see how twisted this is. Keep my voice deadly calm instead? Is that really how you want to play this? Because if that's what you're going for, I've got all night. She stares at me for a long moment. Expression shifts from guilt to annoyance. Like I'm the one in the wrong. Finally mutters, "You're being dramatic. This whole thing, it's nothing." Just a fling? It doesn't mean anything. Those words hit harder than expected. If she can dismiss this so easily, what does that make our marriage? Her words hang in the air, sharp and stinging. Says it like she's talking about the weather, like our life together means nothing. Everything we built worth just a shrug. Just a fling? I repeat slowly. Watch her expression. Looking for any hint of remorse, any flicker of regret, all I get is a blank stare. She's already detached from this conversation. Probably from me too. Can see the walls going up behind her eyes. She's calculating, sizing me up, probably deciding how much more to lie. Not letting her slip away this time. Tell me something, I say. Keep my voice steady, though can feel anger rising. How long has this been going on, Rachel? She rolls her eyes. Bitter smile pulls at her lips. Like I'm boring her. Oh, stop, Marcus. You're making this into some big drama. It was a couple of nights out. That's it? Thomas, he's just someone to talk to. You're overreacting. Overreacting? Almost laugh. You think watching my wife kiss another man in a bar, finding out she's been lying to me, hiding things, that's just me overreacting? Well, what do you want me to say? She snaps. Finally breaking her cool act. Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with work all the time, I wouldn't have needed to find someone who actually paid attention to me. Stare at her. Feel like I'm looking at a stranger. So this is my fault? Maybe it is, she shouts. Throws her hands up. You've been so checked out for months, Marcus. You come home. You barely even talk to me. And when I do try to connect, you're always tired or busy with something. Do you even know how lonely I've been? Her words hit me hard, but I'm not buying it. Lonely? I shoot back. So you don't talk to me about it? Don't tell me you're unhappy? You just find someone else to fill the gaps. And I'm supposed to understand? She folds her arms. Expression hardening. You wouldn't understand even if I tried. You're not interested in fixing things, are you? You just want to play the victim? Like a switch flips inside her. Any trace of guilt vanishes, starts pacing around the room, throwing out accusations, twisting the narrative, making this somehow about everything I've done wrong. She's not apologizing, not even pretending to regret it. She's rewriting the story, making me the villain. In some bizarre drama where she's the poor, neglected wife, forced to find comfort elsewhere. Sit down. Try to process the storm of accusations. She's hurling my way. Suddenly, it's my fault she'd been driven to this. My fault that she'd lied, snuck around behind my back. In her mind, this isn't a betrayal. It's a cry for help. She almost seems smug, like she's found the perfect justification. Stop, I say quietly. Cut through her rant. You don't get to stand there and blame this all on me, Rachel. I'm done listening to you twist this around. She glares at me. For a second, see something fierce in her eyes. Like she's angry I'm not folding under her words. Keep going. Voice low and steady. I'm willing to take my share of the blame for our problems. Fine, I'll admit I've been working more. Maybe I haven't been as present as I could have been. But none of that gives you an excuse to cheat. To lie? To go behind my back like this? For the first time, she hesitates. Flicker of uncertainty crosses her face. But she buries it quickly. Her lips press into a tight line. You just don't get it, she mutters. Almost to herself, like she's talking to someone who isn't even in the room. Then she turns, heads for the door. Where are you going? I ask. Stand up! She doesn't even look back. To clear my head? You're impossible right now. Then she's gone. Door slams shut behind her. Stand there in the silence she left behind. Listen to her footsteps fade. Feel the weight of her words settle in. She wasn't sorry. Wasn't even close to sorry. She'd flipped the script, twisted the blame, stormed out without a single shred of accountability. Feel my anger simmering, building with every second. That's when I realized something. Something I hadn't before. Rachel isn't the woman I thought she was. Maybe she never had been. Don't sleep that night after she left. Sit there in the silence of our house. Anger morphs into something colder, sharper. Something that demands action. She turned this entire situation on me. Twisted every lie. every betrayal, into some desperate plea for my attention, then just walked out like she was wronged. That's the moment I knew. Couldn't just let this slide. If she was going to play games, I'd make sure she'd remember who she was playing against. She comes back just before sunrise, eyes red and exhausted. Can tell she expects a fight, maybe even some kind of apology from me. Don't give her either. Act calm, distant, civil. Don't demand explanations. Don't push her to talk about her night out. Think that throws her off more than any argument. Can see her watching me, waiting for me to snap, or beg her to work things out. But I don't. Just go through the motions. Drink my morning tea, read the news, even make her breakfast. Don't say a word about what happened. She doesn't bring it up either. Guess she thinks her silence means control. If she doesn't acknowledge what she did, she can pretend it's not a big deal. It's strange. Like we both agreed to step into some twisted version of normal, ignoring the reality hanging between us. That whole day I go through my routine, act like nothing's wrong, like I'm not replaying every moment of her betrayal. But beneath the calm, I'm planning. Want her to feel what I felt? Even a fraction of the confusion. The helplessness she put me through. Decide to start with her own tricks. Begin going out late. No explanations. Answer her questions with half-truths. Just seeing some old friends. Linger on my phone longer than usual. Drop hints about messaging people she doesn't know. Lock the screen whenever she glances over. Can feel her starting to shift. Balance of power tilting. Best part is, she doesn't know if she has the right to ask. Because asking means acknowledging her own lies. One evening, few days later, make sure to come home well after midnight. Ignored her text all evening, just like she did to me so many times. Walk through the door. She's waiting in the living room, arms crossed, jaw tight. Where have you been? She demands. Voice low and controlled, like she's trying to hold back a storm. Out, I say simply. Pull off my jacket, set it on the couch. Don't offer anything more. Don't try to soothe her worries. Just stare at her. Let the silence stretch, her eyes narrow. With who? Question hangs there. Can almost feel her discomfort rising. My calm reaction reminds her of her own betrayal. Does it matter? I reply. Tone ice cold? After all, it's not like we have to share everything, right? Her face pales slightly, clenches her fists, obviously not prepared for this shift. Looks like she wants to say something, push for answers, but thinks better of it. Instead, just nods stiffly, mutters, "Fine, I don't care anyway." But she does care. See it every time I walk out the door without explanation. Every time she glances at my phone, she started keeping tabs on me. These little things show she's unraveling. More she tries to ignore it. More obvious it becomes. Week later, leave for another late night out. Drop one more hint. Just a casual remark as I grab my coat. Don't wait up. I might be seeing someone. Watch her face. See shock ripple across her features. Before she can hide it, she doesn't say anything. Just gives a curt nod. Like she doesn't care. But I know better. Stay out late again. Come home to find her waiting. She's in the kitchen. Slight tremor in her hands. As she holds a glass of water. Who is she? She finally blurts out. Mask of indifference cracking. Who's who? I reply calmly. Feigned confusion. Only seems to fuel her frustration. This person you're seeing, she spits out. Voice sharper, angrier. What are you trying to prove, Marcus? That you can hurt me too? Consider telling her the truth. About how this whole thing is just a mirror. A reflection of her own actions. Hold back instead. Let weight of her accusations settle. Maybe, I say slowly. Keep my voice steady. Or maybe I just don't owe you answers anymore. Look in her eyes changes. Something flashes there. Almost looks like regret. But it's too late for that. Watch her wrestle with words she wants to say. This time she can't twist the story. Can't make me the villain. For first time in weeks, see a crack in her confidence. Glimpse of realization dawning. That maybe, just maybe, she'd started a game she wasn't prepared to finish. After that night, things between us take on eerie calm. Rachel starts doing everything to pull me back. Little gestures that month ago would have meant world to me. Cooks my favorite meals. Asks about my day. Even tries to watch those old movies we used to enjoy together. But none of it matters now. Because I've seen the real her. Know that every move she makes, every careful smile, every I love you whispered at night. All just weak attempts to cover cracks she made herself. One evening, about a week after our last confrontation, she decides to push things further. Approaches as I'm getting ready to go out. Scent of her jasmine perfume fills the room. Leans against doorframe, arms folded, calculated look in her eyes. I want to talk, she says firmly. Like she's decided tonight will clear the air. Look at her. Raise an eyebrow. Just say, go ahead. She hesitates, glances at floor before meeting my gaze. Look, Marcus. I know things have been complicated between us. Maybe I haven't been fair to you. I know I've made mistakes. But I don't want to lose you over something stupid. Her voice softens. For a split second, almost believe her. But something in her eyes still guarded. Like she's still choosing words carefully. Still holding back truth. You don't want to lose me? I ask. Voice flat. Or do you just not want to lose comfort of having someone who's always there no matter what? Her expression tightens. Like she's been slapped. That's not fair, Marcus. I care about you. I've always cared about you. But things got confusing, okay? Thomas was just a distraction. A mistake I know I shouldn't have made. A distraction? I repeat. Let word hang in air. So what you're telling me, he was just some fling you only did because you were confused? Yes, she says quickly. Relief flickers across her face, like she thinks I've finally understood. I wasn't thinking straight. I let things get out of hand. It's my fault. But if you can just let it go, we can move past this. Start fresh. I laugh. Cold sound surprises even me. Start fresh? Shake my head. Rachel, do you even hear yourself? Spent weeks lying to my face. Sneaking around. Blaming me for your decisions. Now you expect me to forget because you're sorry? You think few apologies erase what you did? She steps closer. Reaches for my hand. Eyes pleading. Marcus, please? I love you. I know I messed up. But you can't seriously believe. One mistake defines everything we have together. Pull my hand back, anger building until it burns. Rachel, you don't even know the half of it. Words come out before I realize. She looks at me, eyes widening. Suspicion darkening her expression. What's that supposed to mean? Silent for a moment. Debating if I should reveal everything, all I've pieced together about her lies. The late nights, the messages she thought she'd hidden so well. Almost want her to feel weight of every step. In this game, she thought she'd mastered. Instead, take a breath. Lean in close enough to see tension in her face. It means that maybe you weren't the only one who decided to unwind somewhere else. Her face blanches, stumbles back slightly, mouth opening and closing, struggling to process my words. Don't elaborate. Just let seed of doubt take root, twisting her confidence. Same way she twisted mine. She tries to cover up her shock. Throw back some cold retort, but her voice falters. You wouldn't. You're just saying that to get under my skin. Am I? I reply. Tilt my head, give her small knowing smile. Or maybe I just finally realized, if you could go off and find someone new so easily, maybe I could too. She looks like she's been punched. For first time since all this started, she's the one who looks genuinely hurt, like reality of her actions finally hitting her. Opens her mouth to argue, to defend herself, but no words come out. Then just as quickly as hurt flashed in her eyes, it's replaced by something else, cold calculating anger. She straightens, narrows her gaze at me. So that's what this has been about? Getting even? No, Rachel, I reply calmly. This isn't about revenge. This is about finally letting you see that you don't get to decide what's real and what's not. You lost that right moment you lied to my face. She glares at me, biting her lip, trying to keep emotions in check, but I can see her wavering. All the control she thought she had, power she thought she held over me, it's crumbling. For first time, she's the one left with questions, with uncertainties. Without another word, turn and grab my keys. Walk out the door. This time, don't say where I'm going. Don't give any hint or comfort. Leave her in that quiet, empty house, alone with weight of her own betrayal. Just as she left me all those nights, step outside into cool night air. Feel something lift. She'd always thought she was the one in control, the one calling shots. But now she's finally seeing what it feels like to be left in the dark. Don't come home that night. Don't even check phone. Don't care if she tried calling or texting. Leave it on silent in jacket pocket. Fully content to let her stew in own questions. Stay with my friend Ryan instead. Guy who'd known me long before I met Rachel. One person I know won't sugarcoat things. Won't tell me what I want to hear. Need someone real. Someone who'd look at me. Tell me whether I'm out of line. Or finally waking up to truth. When I show up at his door, Ryan doesn't even hesitate. Just opens up. Takes one look at my face. Mutters, "Come in. You look like you've been through hell." Inside, I finally tell him everything. Every detail, every lie I'd uncovered. Every time Rachel brushed me off. The bar, the letter, accusations she'd thrown back at me. Tell him about way I turned tables. Dropped hints about seeing someone, how it rattled her in unexpected way. Ryan listens without interrupting. His face shifts from anger to disbelief as I speak. When I finish, he leans back, folds his arms with a sigh. Damn, man. I knew she was a handful. But this, he shakes his head. So what now? That's the question, isn't it? What now? Part of me wants to keep up the game. Keep Rachel in that state of wondering, just so she'd feel fraction of pain she put me through. But there's another part, a quiet voice I hadn't listened to yet, telling me it's time to be done with entire mess, that by keeping her hanging, I'm only holding on to something already dead. Ryan must see my hesitation, because he doesn't press me. Instead just says, look, if you're asking me, you don't owe her a single explanation? She made her choice, and you've done enough waiting around, trying to make sense of it. He's right. As much as I want to unravel every excuse, every lie she told, I realize it won't change anything. Trust is gone. Whatever she'd been to me is over, replaced by someone who'd taken my faith, twisted it into something unrecognizable. But ending things, really ending them, means I'd have to face her, confront her one last time, make it clear there's no more game left to play. Next morning I get back home early, determined to make this clean as possible. Already planned out what I'd say, how I'd lay out facts, get her to understand. This isn't conversation or argument anymore. It's the end. Walk in. Rachel's sitting at kitchen table, eyes red and puffy, like she hasn't slept at all. She looks up moment she hears door open. Relief flickers across her face, before vanishing into something more guarded. You're back, she says quietly, like she's treading carefully. Just nod. Walk over to sit across from her. She watches me, searching my face, probably for any sign of forgiveness, any hint she could smooth this over. Don't give her that chance. Rachel, I start. Keep voice steady. I came back here to make this clear. Once and for all, we're done. There's nothing left to fix. No more pretending. Whatever trust we had, you destroyed it. And I'm not going to stand here and let you blame me for what you chose to do. She stares at me, shock flashing across her face. Wait, Marcus, you're not thinking this through. We can work on this. We've been through so much. Don't just throw it away because of one mistake. One mistake? Let out humorless laugh. That's the story you're sticking with? A mistake is a lie that slips out once. Not months of sneaking around. Lying to my face. Letting someone else into part of your life. That was supposed to be ours. She reaches across table, desperation in her eyes. I know I messed up, Marcus. But we can rebuild. You can't tell me you're just ready to walk away like this. Think of everything we've been through. Everything we could still have. Pull my hand back, jaw clenching. What we had, Rachel, is gone. Because you decided it was worth risking. For some distraction. Some fling that didn't mean anything. Remember? She opens mouth to respond. But I see it. The realization her excuses aren't working. Script she'd memorized won't save her this time. Can see her struggling. Mind racing for any last-ditch effort. To pull me back in. But she's out of options. Out of chances. Marcus, please, she whispers. Voice cracking. I'll do anything to make this right. Just don't leave. You don't have to do this. Look at her. For first time, feel nothing. No anger. No betrayal. Just numb acceptance. That this part of my life is over. You already left, Rachel. The moment you decided to be with someone else. You ended this. I'm just finishing what you started. Silence that follows is heavy. Final. She doesn't argue anymore. Doesn't try to reach for me or plead. Just sits there. Face pale. Like she's only now understanding what she's lost. Stand up. Grab my coat. Head for door. Know whatever lies ahead is better than holding on to broken pieces she left behind. Walk out of house for last time. Feel something shift. Something close. Not looking back. Not this time. With each step can feel weight lifting. Future opening up. Finally free from lies. And shadows of what we used to be. Leaving that house feels like shedding skin. Don't even look back. Walking down driveway. Get into my car. Road stretches ahead. Open and empty in early morning light. For first time in long time. Feel strange sense of peace. Like clean, quiet slate. End up at small bakery downtown. One of those quiet places. Warm lighting. Smell of fresh pastries and air. Sit there with cup of green tea. Hands wrapped around it. Like warmth could somehow ground me. Remind me this is real. Finally done it. Walked away from everything. Thought my life was supposed to be from woman I thought I'd grow old with. Should hurt more, maybe. But all I feel is relief. Spend hours in that shop. Thinking about everything that happened. All little signs I'd ignored. All red flags I'd brushed aside. Hindsight is brutal. Looking back, feels like clues were everywhere. Like Rachel never really tried to hide what she was doing. Just counted on me not seeing it. On me trusting her too much. To even consider she'd betray me. Then come the messages. Hadn't checked phone all morning? When I finally do, find dozens of texts from her. Long paragraphs. Desperate pleas. Followed by shorter, sharper messages. When I hadn't responded, she'd swung from apology to blame. Back and forth. trying every approach she could think of. Marcus, please come back. We can talk this out. I know I messed up, but are you really just going to walk away like this? After everything we've been through? Fine if this is what you want. If you think you're better off without me, then go ahead. But don't pretend you're any better than I am. Read each one, stomach twisting little. As I watch her words shift, from regret to anger and back again, like she's going through every stage of grief, trying to find some way to hook me back in. But each message only makes it clearer. She still doesn't understand. This isn't about her being caught, or about me getting revenge. It's about finally seeing her for who she really is. Then, in middle of those texts, another message pops up from number I don't recognize. Just one sentence. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. She told me you knew. Stare at message. Mind racing. She told him I knew. That wasn't something Rachel would do. Would mean admitting she'd been caught, breaking her perfect narrative of control. Fingers hover over screen. Hesitant. Finally type back simple response. Who is this? Reply comes quickly. Thomas? Mix of anger and curiosity surges through me. Thomas, the guy she'd chosen? Guy who'd been sitting in that bar with her. While I stood outside watching everything unravel, consider ignoring him. Deleting message, putting it all behind me. But part of me wants answers. Some final closure to mess she'd created. What do you want? I type. Keep message short, detached. There's pause before he replies. Nothing. Just wanted to tell you I'm sorry. I didn't know she was married at first. Strange. This sense of camaraderie, almost, with guy who'd been part of wrecking my marriage, can tell from his tone he's being honest. In twisted way, almost respect him. For reaching out, for not hiding behind Rachel's lies. When did you find out? I ask. More out of curiosity than anything else. Couple months ago, he replies. She told me it was complicated. That you two were practically over, but hadn't officially ended things. I believed her. Stupid as it sounds. Clench my jaw. Feel bitter kind of vindication. So that was story she'd fed him. That we were just hanging by thread. That she was practically free. Only formality away from being single. And of course he'd believed her. She was good at that. Turning on charm. Making people see only what she wanted them to see. Well, you know truth now, I reply. We weren't practically over. She lied to both of us. Next message comes slowly, almost hesitant. I broke things off with her a few days ago. I couldn't keep going along with it. Just thought you should know. That stops me in my tracks. She'd been dumped by guys she risked everything for. Probably right around time. She tried to play me with her apologies and half-hearted confessions. Strange sense of justice settles over me. Like karma finally caught up with her, in ways I hadn't even planned. Thanks, I type back simply. Leave it at that. Put phone down. Stare out window. At world moving outside, people hurrying along sidewalks, going about their days, oblivious to everything I'd just gone through. In strange way, that message from Thomas was final piece I needed. Entire story clear now. The lies, the manipulation, the selfishness that she'd never even tried to hide. Take deep breath. Pay for my tea. Grab my coat. Walk out of bakery. Leaving texts, messages, entire mess in past. I'm done. For first time, know that I'm finally truly free of her. And with every step, feel lighter. Ready to rebuild my life. From scratch. Far away from wreckage she'd left behind. Week passes. Strange settling into life. That doesn't revolve around Rachel's moods. Her lies. Her constant presence. My days feel quieter. Clearer. Keep myself busy. Spend more time with friends. Throw myself into work. Even pick up some hobbies I'd neglected over years. Like rediscovering pieces of myself that I'd let fall away bit by bit in my effort to keep her happy. Then one evening, just as I'm unwinding, with book and glass of scotch, there's knock at my door. Not expecting anyone. Small part wonders if it's Ryan. Stopping by to check in. Open door. My stomach drops. There she is. Rachel. Looks disheveled. Tired. Dark circles under eyes. Even her makeup can't hide them. For a second, neither of us speaks. She just stands there, biting lip, glancing around, like she's not sure she came to right place. Marcus, she says finally. Voice barely above whisper. Can I come in? First instinct is to say no. Shut door right in her face. Something stops me? Maybe it's look in her eyes. Maybe just want to hear what she could possibly have left to say. Step back wordlessly. Let her inside. She walks in slowly, taking in place, probably noting subtle changes. Little signs I'm already moving on. Once she's inside, cross arms, lean against wall, keep my distance. What do you want, Rachel? She looks down. takes shaky breath. Before meeting my eyes, I wanted to talk. Just to explain. Let out bitter laugh. Explain? Haven't we been through enough of that already? I thought I made it clear. There's nothing left to explain? She winces at my tone, but doesn't look away. I know, Marcus, but I can't. I can't just let this end without you understanding my side. I messed up, I know I did, but I need you to know. I never meant for it to go this far. Take deep breath, force myself to stay calm. You never meant for it to go this far? Rachel, you didn't just slip up once. You made choice after choice. You lied. You sneaked around, then had nerve to act like this was all my fault. You don't get to come here and make yourself victim now. Her eyes fill with tears. For a moment looks genuinely remorseful. I know, Marcus. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I can't stop thinking about what we had. Everything we shared. I miss you. I miss us. I know you hate me right now. Her voice cracks, takes shaky breath. I don't think I'll ever feel that way about anyone else. Look at her. Weight of her words sinking in. There was time. God, so many times when hearing her say those things would have pulled me right back. Would have made me feel like maybe there was something worth saving. But now it feels empty, forced, like she's saying what she thinks will make me stay, not because it's true. Rachel, I say quietly, I don't hate you, but I don't love you anymore either. Her face pales, takes step back, shoulders slumping. You don't mean that. Shrug. Feel last bit of anger drained from me, replaced by calm acceptance. I do. I meant it when I said it was over. And you know what? I think you knew that too. That's why you came here, isn't it? Because you couldn't stand idea of me moving on without you. She flinches, words hitting harder than expected. Can see realization sinking in. Her understanding that she's lost me for good, maybe for first time. She sees what she'd really done, not just to me, but to herself. For a moment, we stand there in silence. Just two strangers who'd once shared life, now separated by ocean of broken trust and regret. She wipes her eyes, nodding slightly, accepting what she can't change. I guess I was hoping. She trails off. Voice small and defeated. But you're right. I didn't think this through. I just didn't want to believe it was really over. Nod, not unkindly. It is, Rachel. It's been over for a long time. We were just both too afraid to face it. She doesn't argue, doesn't try to fight it anymore. Instead gives me one last lingering look, like she's memorizing my face, then turns and walks to door. Pauses, hand on handle, whispers, "Goodbye, Marcus." "Goodbye, Rachel." And with that, she's gone, leaving me standing alone, in quiet of my home, expected to feel something. Sadness. Relief. Maybe even regret. But all I feel is sense of calm finality. Like last page of book closing, allowing new one to begin. And for first time in months, know I'm ready to turn that page. In days that follow, find myself adjusting to new rhythm, one where Rachel doesn't occupy any space. In my thoughts, feels surreal, like finally waking up from long, exhausting dream. Weight of our past is gone. In its place is clarity I haven't felt in years. Pour myself into work, reconnect with friends, even start going to climbing gym more regularly. Little by little, I'm rebuilding. Then surprising thing happens. Start seeing things differently. All small, seemingly insignificant parts of life take on new meaning. Notice things I'd let slip during years with Rachel. Friendships I'd let go of. Family gatherings I'd skipped because she didn't want to go. Hobbies I'd abandoned just to keep up with her social calendar. Like every sacrifice I'd made for her comes flooding back. Each one reminder of how much of myself I'd lost trying to hold on to something that was already gone. One afternoon, clearing out old boxes in closet, find stack of photos from before Rachel and I ever met. There I am, grinning with my old college friends, rock climbing in Yosemite, celebrating birthdays, road trips with people who knew me before I'd ever shaped myself to fit someone else's expectations. Looking at those pictures, feel strange mixture of nostalgia and anger. Traded so much of that freedom, that joy, just to make relationship work. That was never balanced to begin with. As weeks go by, focus on reconnecting with people who had always been there, people I'd taken for granted, meet up with Ryan more often, go hiking with old college buddy, even catch up with my sister, who'd been gently nudging me to visit for years. Each of them welcomes me back, without hint of resentment, even though I know I hadn't been there for them as much as they'd been there for me. My sister especially doesn't hold back. She'd always been realist, unafraid to tell me truth, even when I didn't want to hear it. One night, Sitting on her back porch, she looks over at me, small smile on face. You know I've been waiting for this. Version of you to come back. Raise eyebrow. What do you mean? She shrugs, taking sip of chamomile tea. The Marcus who didn't need someone else. To feel whole. The Marcus who didn't have to sacrifice every bit of himself to make someone else happy. She pauses, glancing at me with that knowing look only sister can give. I didn't recognize you for a while there. You know, you seemed smaller. Like you'd folded yourself up? Just to fit into smaller space? Her words hit hard, sharper than expected. Because I know she's right. I had shrunk myself, chipped away pieces, all to make Rachel feel secure, to avoid conflict, to keep things perfect. But perfection was lie, and that small, folded-up version of myself was just shadow of who I really was. Look out over her yard, quiet sounds of evening settling around us. I think I lost myself, trying to keep her, say it more to myself than her. My sister puts hand on shoulder, gives it reassuring squeeze. But you're here now, she says softly. And that's all that matters. Those words settle something deep inside me. It's true. I am here now, stepping out of Rachel's shadow. For first time, don't feel need to look back, to analyze what went wrong, or how I could have saved it. Can see now, some things just weren't meant to be saved. Over next few days, make conscious decision to let go, truly let go. Delete every picture of us together, every old message and email, even her number from my phone. Not an angry purge, quiet, intentional step toward reclaiming my life. One evening, take drive to Mount Hood, where you can see whole city landscape, lights twinkling like stars. Sitting there alone, watching city stretch out before me, feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Deep, profound sense of peace, for first time. Not haunted by past, not weighed down by regrets. Or what ifs. I'm free. Realize then, I've learned something invaluable. Through all of this, learned how to be alone, without being lonely, how to rebuild, without needing someone else, to make me feel whole. Maybe that was one gift Rachel had given me. In the end, freedom to rediscover myself, to reclaim life I'd almost forgotten was mine. As I sit there, breathing in cool mountain air, feel quiet gratitude for journey, for mistakes, for lessons I never knew I needed. And with that realization, close final chapter of that part of life, ready to start something new, something that's truly, fully mine. Months pass. With each one, memories of life with Rachel fade, like distant echo, settled into my new normal, routine that's completely my own. Spend mornings running through Forest Park, evenings reconnecting with old friends, weekends exploring city, discovering places never taken time to appreciate before. Every day feels lighter, freer, like finally steering my own life again. Then one Saturday, on whim, decide to try woodworking class. Been picking up small hobbies here and there, photography, cooking, even bit of gardening, just trying things that feel like they're mine. Woodworking was next on list. Figured couldn't hurt to give it shot. Studio is small, tucked away on Quiet Street, with big windows, rows of wooden pieces on shelves, each one more unique than last. I'm late, typical me. Rush into class, find everyone already at their workstations, focused and quiet. Instructor, middle-aged woman with warm smile, waves me over to empty spot, near back, next to woman with auburn hair, pulled back in messy bun. She glances up as I settle in, gives me quick, polite smile. First time? She asks. Tone light, friendly, nod, chuckling. Is it that obvious? She laughs, genuine, easy laugh. Find myself relaxing. It always is, she says. I'm Hannah. Marcus, I reply. Reach out to shake her sawdust-covered hand. Without even thinking, she grins, raising her messy fingers with laugh. I realize my mistake, chuckling along with her. From there we work side by side, chatting as we fumble through shaping wood. Hannah has this easy energy, calm yet full of life, draws me in without effort, has way of laughing at her own mistakes. That makes me laugh too. Talk about everything, from work to travel, to best ramen spots in city. Conversation flowing, like we'd known each other longer than couple of hours. At end of class, our wooden boxes are far from perfect, slightly uneven edges, but there's something oddly satisfying about creating something with own hands, something that doesn't have to be flawless, to feel meaningful. Hannah seems to feel same way, holding up her misshapen box with proud grin. Looks like 5th grade shop class project, she jokes. Setting it on shelf to dry. Hey, it has character, I say, smiling. Besides, if it can hold stuff, it's success in my book. She laughs. As we leave studio, she turns to me, hesitating for a moment before saying, There's tea house down street. Does amazing jasmine tea? If you're not in rush, I mean, Pause. Surprised by invitation, but genuinely intrigued. Lead the way. Tea house is cozy, filled with warm smell of herbs and fresh baked cookies. Find spot by window. As we sip our drinks, conversation shifts to deeper topics, kind you don't expect to have with stranger. Hannah shares stories about her work as pediatric oncologist, her passion for helping kids, ways she'd fallen into woodworking. As way to unwind, tell her bit about myself, carefully navigating around past with Rachel. Not because I'm hiding it, but because it doesn't feel relevant anymore. Feels good talking to someone without any history weighing me down. As afternoon melts into evening, realize I haven't thought about Rachel once. For first time. Just there, fully present. Enjoying company of someone who's unapologetically herself, like breathing fresh air after being underwater too long. At end of night, exchange numbers with easy mutual understanding. No pressure, no expectations, just possibility of new connection. Something that feels simple, refreshing and real. Driving home, feel unfamiliar warmth, quiet excitement. Haven't felt in years. Meeting Hannah reminded me, there's still life beyond shadows of past. Still people, experiences, possibilities. Waiting out there, I haven't even begun to explore. In that moment, realize, person I'd been before Rachel wasn't gone. He was still there, just waiting for chance to breathe again. And now, finally, he had it. Few days after woodworking class, Hannah and I meet up again. This time at Japanese Garden, where she claims sunsets are spectacular. Spot where she goes to unwind. After long shifts at hospital, air is cool. Sky washed with soft shades of pink and orange. As we walk along stone paths, feel that same ease around her. Had at tea house, strange realizing how quickly someone can feel familiar, like they'd slipped effortlessly into space you didn't know was empty. Talk about little things at first, favorite places, embarrassing childhood stories, life's small and strange twists. By time sun dips below trees, our conversations drift toward things that matter, where honesty feels more like release than risk. Find myself opening up about last few months, about hard truths I'd faced, parts of myself I'm learning to reclaim. Tell her I'd been through tough breakup, how it made me reevaluate everything. Thought I knew about myself, what I wanted, expected her to react with sympathy or surprise. But she just nods thoughtfully, quiet understanding in her eyes. I get it, she says softly. Sometimes it takes something breaking to realize what's worth holding on to. That simple truth settles over me, deep and undeniable. She doesn't ask for details, doesn't probe for more than I'm willing to share, just listens, fully present. Letting silence between us feel as natural as words, feel safe in that silence, like I can be fully myself, flaws, regrets, all of it, without fear or hesitation. As we walk back, realize haven't felt this open, this understood in long time. It's not that she's filling void left by Rachel, or that I'm trying to force new beginning. More like she's showing me, future could be filled with depth and kindness. That connections could be simple, genuine, completely free of past's baggage. In following weeks, Hannah and I grow closer, meet up often, sometimes for tea, sometimes to try new things around city, sometimes just to talk. She becomes my confidant, someone I can laugh with, confide in, and slowly but surely trust. There's no rush, no urgency, just steady natural pace. That feels more real than anything I'd experienced in years. One evening, after quiet dinner at her place, she looks at me, smile tugging at lips. You know, she says, voice light but sincere. I'm glad you took that woodworking class. Me too, I reply. Returning her smile, guess we've got our lopsided boxes to thank. We laugh, but as laughter fades, feel something more, quiet growing certainty. Haven't felt in long time, realize then. Meeting her wasn't just chance encounter, was reminder of what I was capable of. How much life there was left to explore? As I leave her place that night, feel warmth that isn't just excitement. It's peace, sense of being right where I'm meant to be. Know then that I'm done looking back, done reliving past. Whatever Rachel and I had shared was closed chapter, lesson learned. Ready fully and finally to let future unfold on own terms. In quiet drive home, can't help but smile to myself. For first time in long time, my life feels whole, full of new possibilities. And as I think of life ahead, of all moments yet to come, know one thing for certain, this is just beginning.